Hey designers, so in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to illustrate a stylized flower using a few of my brushes and this color couture collection, which was inspired by spring 2018 couture. So to get started, I've got a new document open and I want to create a little bit of drama for my flower to show up against. So first off, I'm going to go make sure that I have over here on my left the pattern stamp brush selected, and make sure that at the top you have Impressionist checked. And I'm going to go to my brushes, and to start off with I'm going to go to Artistic Autumn brush number 23, and I really love this brush. Here we go, Artistic Autumn brush 23, and I'm going into this color palette that I already have loaded from this color couture collection. I've got my patterns loaded. And if I want to refer to my sheet here, let's see here, we can scroll down. And these sheets are really helpful because you can kind of see what color blend you want. So I want a dark background, so I'm going to pick pattern number 11. So I'm going to go here and find pattern number 11, and with Artistic Autumn brush number 23, I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in like so. And I love these these edges that are bleeding here. So actually I'm going to just make kind of a nice square shape here. And it doesn't have to be perfect for the demonstration, but you know, you can use this on a design to create like somewhat of a little, you know, a centerpiece for your design. So I'm just going to make a little square here, but I love those bleedy edges. And so I'll just shrink that down a little bit. So I've got to make my illustration look really nice. So to start off with, I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to get my pattern stamp brush, and I'm going to go for Palm Beach Garden Party brush number 34. So I'm going to scroll back and get, here I've got that brush so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's Palm Beach Garden Party brush number 34, and I'm going to pick one of these patterns here, and let's see which one I want. I think I'm going to pick number 10. So I'm just going to make a few strokes here and kind of make the starting point for my flower. So I'm going to kind of play around here, and I like how this looks, and I like how it has a little bit of red blend in there. But that looks good. It's just kind of the starting, jumping off point for my flower. So I've got that. That's good. And now I'm going to put some kind of petals behind it with a wet paintbrush. So I'm going to go over here on my left, make sure you have this brush, the mixer brush tool selected. And I'm going to go in my brush panel and get my wet paint mixer brushes. And I'm going to get brush number 3. And so now I need to load that brush up. And I'm going to go over here to my wet paint palettes for this collection. And I'm going to get this nice purple here. So I am going to hit Option and select this, and now I've selected this palette, and I'm going to make my thing a little bit bigger, my brush. I'm going to hit the right bracket, and now let's just see how it looks here. Okay, that looks cool. So I'm going to just experiment, and I'm going to make a couple sort of nice little petals kind of coming off the side. And now I think I might get another one, and so I think I will sample from maybe this center one right here with a little bit of, it's a little bit more of a tan color, and that's cool. So I can add a couple little petals in the back here. So just kind of a couple little petals for the back, and that's nice, and it has a nice look to it. It mixes the wet and the Impressionist brushes together. So that's a good start. So now I think I'm going to select both these layers, move them up just a little bit, and then I actually might add one more kind of little petal right here. Just kind of fill that in a little bit. That looks good. But we'll do some more things later. So now we want to maybe create some sort of gold center here. So I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to go ahead and apply the gold to the layer before I start painting, just so that I can paint and see how it looks as it goes. And I'm using my 24 karat gold layer styles, and I'm using style number 35. So I'm going to add that to the layer. I keep my styles in my libraries, but you can also have them loaded up in your general styles section right over here in your styles panel. But I like to keep all my styles in different library collections, which if you own any of my styles collections, you can watch the tutorial playlist and see how to load them like I do in my libraries. And I think it's really nice for fast reference. So I've got the gold added to that layer, and I think I'm going to get my Impressionist brush, and I'm going to go with brush number 34 here, Palm Beach Garden Party, and that looks good. So I'm going to put a couple strokes here in the center and kind of make this nice little gold center, which looks cool. And yeah, that looks good. Although I think I want to have I don't want it to be so big, so I'm going to just play around with it and put, there we go, just a little hints of gold here. And I'm going to duplicate this layer, and I'm going to, behind these petals, I'm going to add a little bit of this gold poking out right here, because I think that looks like really cool. So I'm going to just play with that a little bit and put a little gold back there. So that's good. And now I want to make a stem coming down from here. So I will duplicate this layer once more, and then I cut everything off the layer, because that's just rather than having to apply the layer style to each time, I'll just duplicate the layer and then cut everything off of it. So I hit Command A, select all, and then Command X, which is to cut everything. So I'm going to get Palm Beach Garden. For the stem, it doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to use Palm Beach Garden Party 38. And since I already have the gold, this is going to be in gold, I don't really care what color is coming out, because the point of it is to make a gold stem. So I'm just going to kind of go like this. And there we go. That one, at first it was a little bit thick. So I'm going to go like that and make a little stem, and I think that's really nice. And then now, one thing that I think I might add is behind these wet paint petals, I might add another layer, and I'm going to go back to my Impressionist brush, and I'm going to go back to that Artistic Autumn brush number 23, which is like quite fuzzy. And I'm going to select that. And I think I'm going to leave this in number 10 here. And I just kind of want to make a little bit of a haze behind the flower. Maybe I will make it a bit darker. Let's see what we got. We can, no, I'll just leave it with 10. But I just want to make a little bit of romantic kind of haze behind this flower. I think that looks quite cool. So it just gives it a little bit of energy. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select color palette number 12 and even add a little bit of red behind this for drama. So it kind of gives it a little bit of a glow. And just add it around, slightly around. So that's quite cool. I think that's nice, and it gives it a little bit of a energy. And then, let's see what we got here. Then I need to add some wet paint leaves on the stem. So I'm going to create a new layer on top. I'm going to go to my mixer brush and use that same brush number 3. And I'm going to select on the top left, I'm going to option select to load this palette into my brush. And then I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And let's just zoom in a little bit, not that much. Oh, there we go. Just scrub it here a little bit. All right, and I'm just going to go make a little leaf like this. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So now we've got a little bit of the leaves that match these wet paint petals up here. But now I'm going to go back to my palette and let's load up another color like this one here in the top center. And then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to just do something like this and kind of play with going around that leaf. And so that way we have like two colors. But it's not as perfect as on my demo. Actually, I'm going to scroll back in my history because I want a little bit more contrast here. So I'm going to go and get, I think, this one right next to the red. And let's try that. Because it's all about experimentation. And if it's not perfect, you know, no big. You can, even sometimes I'm doing my demos and I'm doing them in real time and I don't worry about them being so perfect. So I'm just going to do something like this. So then you kind of have these buds coming off, these stylized buds. And it's cool because you've got kind of two shades blending there. So it's not exactly as perfect as my, this was what I was kind of starting off with. But you get the idea and you can play around and make it your own. In fact, on this part in the center where I use this Palm Beach Garden Party brush number 34, what I might do is cut that, and I could go over here and use my Palm Beach Garden Party 38 that I used on my stem. And let's see here, Palm Beach Garden Party 38, which is kind of more of a solid one, and that way I can make a little, I think that looks a little bit stronger. I think that's what I actually used on the cover image here. And so then I can kind of add like, make it look a little bit stronger, like you've got the center part of the flower. I think that looks a bit better. So you can just play around. It's not perfect, but you kind of get the idea. So you've got that gold center like I have more on my display image. So that's cool. But it's all about playing around, and it's still, even if it's not perfect with these like expressionist, you know, these very like, these brushes have a lot of expression, have a lot of motion, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's kind of the fun of it. So we kind of have this like nice floral motif. And then, you know, if you have it on a dark background, what is cool is you can add maybe some drama in the background like I added on this display image. So you can take your Palm Beach Garden Party brush number 34 with the Impressionist brush. I'm just going to go back here. I'm going to get Palm Beach Garden Party brush number 34 and I'm going to load it with pattern number 10. And you can make some cool streaks. I'm going to actually clip this to this layer so we can, goes like that. So make some cool brush strokes in the background. And it kind of ties it all in together. So try to use the same brush strokes maybe that you used in the flower on as your accents. So I've got that brush stroke, and now I'm going to add some gold ones. So I will make a new layer and I can apply style number 35 and go like that, and it will be, and I'm going to clip it here to the background. But that looks super cool. And it's using the same brush and the same elements that I used in my main design in the background. So I think that looks really neat, and I love this style of gold. It looks super wet and really exciting. And then I think I'll add one more layer and I'll bring in some of this red. So that was from Artistic Autumn brush number 23. So I can go back here, grab Artistic Autumn brush number 23, grab number 12 pattern, the red, and kind of bring that in down here for some accent. And it adds like a lot of drama. And that looks really cool. So this is just a general idea, but you know, you can make dots behind your flowers or some kind of cool accent. And it's nice to use the same kind of elements and the same brushes that you used in your flower in the background or as accents in your design. And that will tie everything together. So hopefully this was useful to you, and then you can use this with any of my color palette collections, my color couture collections, to make some flowers that are just your own, even though I kind of give you the foundation and the general idea of what to do. When you create this and when you draw this, this is going to be your own illustration. So hopefully you guys will have fun, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions.